Hello and welcome to the world of my books and stories. Now, a lot of children who get to the age of 9 or 10 without really having read much in their childhood, they often find it difficult to get started on reading. And I've met lots of parents who are very, very eager to get their child reading, but they find that the child is simply reluctant to pick up a book and read it. Now, this could be because of a variety of reasons. One is, of course, that if a child hasn't understood the idea that a book contains this lovely magic called stories from a very young age, it is sometimes difficult to get them interested at an older age, and by which I mean 8 or 9 also, because you see what happens by this age is that a child's ideas are kind of set, and in many cases a child has also found entertainment in different areas. This could be some sport that they are interested in, or just some kind of toys that they play, or just maybe even video games or games on the phone or whatever. So what can parents do to get a child like this interested in reading stories? I think that an anthology of stories is a wonderful way to start a child on reading, especially a child who has never really read a book before and is often scared off by the size and length of the book. So if you hand such a child a full-length novel, a book which is say about 25,000-30,000 words, it's definitely going to put the child off. Also because the child might not really have the ability to concentrate for the entire duration of the time that will be taken to read that book. So what you can do instead is to use an anthology. Now, an anthology, it can be of different kinds. One is where you have stories by the same author, on a variety of topics. The other is an anthology where you have stories contributed by variety of authors, and these are themed, so they are usually on one common theme. All right. I think this is a great way to start your child on reading. So what does reading an anthology of this kind do to your child? Now, the first thing that it does is that it presents a story in a very short and a very manageable format. So basically it ensures that your child is not frightened off at the thought of having to read a long story, because stories in an anthology are usually hardly 5-6 pages, which is a very, very doable thing even for a child who's just beginning to read. Alright. Now, the second thing that an anthology of stories can do is it can introduce your child to the writing styles of a variety of authors. You see, this is the charm and the beauty of an anthology to which different authors have contributed. So your child basically gets to sample the writing styles of different people, and then if he or she likes any one of them, you can always go and look for longer works of fiction by the same person and then use that for your child. Alright, so this is something that is really, really advantageous for your child. The third is that, because these anthologies come themed, they get built around a theme, it is a great way to get your child interested in reading. So you might have stories, anthologies themed around festivals like Christmas or Diwali, or you might have them themed around, really like something sports or school or exams. And this, you can always connect it to whatever your child is going through at that time and introduce it to them. And the fourth and most important thing is, I think that when you introduce stories to your child in these small bite-sized formats, it works greatly in his favor, because he or she does feel a sense of confidence that they've actually managed to read something, and also this will ensure that they continue reading. Alright, so I hope these reasons have convinced you to pick up an anthology of stories, and right now I'm going to show you an anthology to which I have contributed and talk a little bit about that, so you do understand how you can use it. Alright, now this is an anthology called The Puffin Book of Holiday Stories. Now look at the title. That's such an interesting title because it doesn't specifically say the summer vacation. In India, we have 3 schools generally have vacations at least thrice in a year. Of course, there's this really long summer vacation, but in addition to that, many parts of the country have vacations for Dasara or Diwali, and often also for Christmas. So that makes it at least 3 different occasions in a year when you can actually introduce your child to this, because it will be totally in keeping with the spirit of that time. All right. Now the second thing is that, like I said, this story is themed around the idea of summer or any kind of holidays, and so your child will get a chance to read what different people think about summer and what they did. So it's like a really great mix of different kinds of ideas, different kinds of takes and perspectives on the same topic, that is holiday stories. Okay, and like I said, because it brings together some really great authors who are writing for children today, what it also does is to give your child like a really crash course introduction in the different authors, and from here he or she can pick up what or which author they would like to read more of. Okay, so now the story that I have contributed to this is called A Summer Diary, because the summer is the longest vacation that we have, and this is a story of two siblings, Asha and Ashwin, who have to go stay with an aunt in the summer vacation because their mother is getting an operation, and their father obviously needs to focus on the mother and can't really take care of them. Now the interesting thing about Asha and Ashwin is they squabble. I mean, most siblings do quarrel a lot, but these two take it to a different level altogether, because of which most of their relatives are really reluctant to have them stay with them. So they finally, find an aunt who agrees to let them come and live with her in this big old house that she stays in. And when they are there, Ashwin has been asked by his English teacher to keep a diary of what happens to him during the summer. I mean, the entire class is being given this homework for the vacation. So you get to know the entire story only through the entries that Ashwin makes in his diary, and through that you realize that the kinds of quarrels he and Asha have, and how strange things happen, because in the middle of the night Ashwin thinks that he hears his sister scream, and he rushes to her help only to find that she is fast asleep and she doesn't like being woken up, and which results in another big quarrel. But how slowly things change till in the end, the children who have thought, like Ashwin has all along thought that his sister was the one who was meddling and writing things in his diary, discover that perhaps that's not the simple explanation for what happened to them. Perhaps something else had happened. Alright, so I'm going to read a little bit of it for you so that you can decide for yourself if your child would like this, and then if you do like it, you could pick up a copy of this book. Okay. This is priced at 250 rupees and it's published by Puffin Books, and I think it is a wonderful collection for any child, and particularly for a child whom you are trying to get interested in reading. So the first entry is 15th May, 10:01 a.m. Dear Diary, yesterday was the first day of my summer vacation. Travelled by train to Usha Mashi's house with Baba. Baba went back. Amma is not well and needs him, he said. Had dinner and went to sleep. Ashwin. Okay, so that's just the first diary, and after that he begins to write a little bit more, because this is really very little. And then on 19th May he writes an entry which is pretty interesting. 19th May, 9:41 a.m. Dear Diary, I have the nastiest, ugliest, meanest older sister in the world. Now what is interesting about this sentence is that all the bad words that he's used to describe his sister have been cut out and have been replaced by nicer words, by more flattering descriptions of his sister. So nastiest becomes nicest, ugliest becomes prettiest, and meanest becomes kindest. So now it says, I have the nicest, prettiest, kindest older sister in the world. You can see how they've been cut out, and this is where the mystery begins, because Ashwin is all along convinced that this is something that his sister Asha is doing just to annoy him, and so he goes to threaten her and he goes to demand it results in another big quarrel between the two of them, till finally because of the quarrels and because of the strange things that are happening, mysteriously they keep getting locked out of their rooms in the night and end up having to sit together on a little open terrace, because their aunt is fast asleep and they don't want to disturb her. And they discover that they are both actually really worried about their mother and what is going to happen, and how this helps them bond. Okay, so this was my introduction to this wonderful anthology of stories in which I have a story. Do let me know if you have tried this trick with a child who is reluctant to start reading and how it's gone. If you have any other questions, do leave them in the comments section, or you could just leave a hi. I'd love to see that. Until the next time then, bye-bye. Keep reading. Don't give up on your child if your child is still reluctant. There are always ways and means to get your child hooked on to reading for life. It is going to take some patience and a little time, but we'll get there. Okay, so keep reading, keep smiling. Bye bye, and thank you for watching.